I love you too, sweetie. Huh. Can demonic possession, I think, explain a host of crimes like rapes and murders and sodomies and whatever. Yeah, I think it can explain some of them. I think some people, I do believe in demonic spirits. I do believe in demon possession and all that. I think that is true in some cases, but I'm thinking in the majority of the cases it's just not true. I mean, if that was the case, then I think Jesus wouldn't have had scarcely any time to do anything else when he was walking around on earth, but cast spirits out of people. So I think the vast majority of people just do things because of them. It has nothing to do with any kind of spirit. It's just because of the evil in their heart. Basically their evil heart that causes them to say and do bad things. How that got evil, how their heart got so evil or mean or whatever, could be a lot of bad things that happened to them in life, and it's not the things that happen to you in life, but how you take them. And a lot of people take bad things that happen to them in life the wrong way, and the anger just builds up and builds up and builds up until finally they just explode, and they give people tongue lashings, or they actually take violent action against other people. So when you see a person that's always negative and always got something negative to say and whatever, you have to think in terms of what happened to them to make them like that. Try to have a little compassion or whatever, and you might not be able to spend any time around them, but if you pray for such a person, but you don't get all bummed out by them and get to going off and talking about how they are, how negative they are. They're like that for a reason, so if you pray, you just pray for a person. But yeah, I think demonic possession can explain some of the crimes that you're talking about, are some of the crimes being committed, but probably not most of them. Probably just only a small percentage. I think most crimes, that you're talking about, people are crazy. They're just simply evil. That's just how they is, It don't have to be like some demonic spirit, encouraging them to do that. They're just evil, because they let life make them that way. Anger, they let things get to them, and it balls over, and they just go out and kill somebody or whatever. There's anger management classes for a reason, because some people really can't handle the anger, and it just builds up and builds up until finally they do something about it. One of the things that causes a lot of injustice, a lot of anger, is injustice. A person feels like they've been mistreated or whatever, and they feel like the justice system or whatever hasn't addressed it, or hasn't given them justice, so they go out and take things into their own hand. There was a man in St. Louis named Cookie. They called him Cookie, his nickname, affectionate nickname. And basically, he was given a whole bunch of parking tickets at one time. Like, he left out of town, and they put like multiple parking tickets on like 8 of his vehicles, and he was very upset about that. Felt like police did him wrong, and even though eventually the police, they dropped it. Told him he didn't have to pay because he was just coming to the meetings, the city council meetings, and just complaining and raising hell and raising hell and raising hell. So they finally said, you know what, we're just going to forgive this guy his tickets and just, and let it be done. But he wanted an apology on top of that. So his anger was just, his sense of being wrong was just off the chain. And eventually he just went and shot some people, shot them, just shot up a city council meeting or whatever, killed some people. But that was him letting his anger get out of control. I wouldn't necessarily say that was a devil. That was just him being mentally ill, or just being unable to control his anger issues or whatever. Or maybe he was possessed by a demon. The demon was whispering in his ear. Who knows? Only God only knows these things. As far as the cops doing the things, doing the bad things they've done, it's just a matter of sometimes cops are just jaded, and they've been doing the job so long and been seeing so much evil stuff and seeing so many rotten people and stuff that it just seeps into them, and then they become rotten, just like the criminals they deal with are rotten. Or sometimes they started out bad. They passed if there was any psychological testing, they passed it, but they shouldn't have, because they was never stable to begin with. They was never right in the head to begin with. They had sadistic tendencies or whatever, or racism, or they had anger issues from the beginning. From the moment they made them a cop, they had those issues. And whatever psychological testing they did, they beat it. They it wasn't detected all that was wrong with them. But a lot of times cops do get jaded and been on the job too long, and after a while, just everybody's the same to them. Everybody's a criminal. Nobody's to be trusted. Everybody's to be viewed with the suspicion. And then there's the thing of they say that absolute power corrupts absolutely, but it depends on your character, what kind of person you are, your level of decency. Even a little power can corrupt some people, absolutely. And that is the case with, I believe, with some cops. They get the power, and even though it's not absolute power necessarily, it's close enough to it, to corrupt them absolutely. And then some people can get all the power in the world, and they would never hurt anybody. They would never do wrong. So it all speaks to what kind of person you are, what your character is. That's what it really speaks to. I know you're saying things are getting worse and worse. If you are Christian or you have Christian beliefs, then you're not surprised, because the Bible said that in the last days things will just get worse and worse. And it also says that unless God comes back or Christ returns, no flesh would be saved. In other words, man would just self-destruct completely, just completely destroy everything, poison everything, maybe destroy himself through nuclear bombs or whatever. It just, one way or another, man would figure out how to destroy himself, according to the Bible, unless God shortens the time or God intervenes somehow. So yeah, it's no surprise to Christians like myself that things are just getting worse and worse and worse. But I know sometimes to non-Christians, just like, why is things getting worse? Why is it like this? I mean, it was told that it was going to be like this, that there would be more earthquakes in diverse places, and plagues and diseases and famines, and just a lot of different things would happen when it's getting close for Christ to return and come back and get his people. So this is all expected from us. Doesn't mean that we're cool with it. Doesn't mean we're okay with it. Doesn't mean we don't try to make the world a better place as Christians, or sitting around just talking about heaven all the time and not going out and doing anything to try to make the world a better place. I mean, while you're here, you might as well try and do some good, and since the Bible tells Christians to occupy till they come, they might as well be busy trying to make the world a better place, even though they know it's going to go downhill. It's just going to get worse and worse. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. So that's kind of my thoughts on it, except for one last thing. You said, about being in danger or whatever. Be careful out there. Yeah, you better be careful out there. The main thing you can do if you are a Christian or you have a belief is pray. Pray for your safety. Pray for the safety of your family members. Pray for the safety of your friends, whatever and whatnot. And I see nothing wrong with arming. I mean, the Second Amendment office says you have the right to arm yourselves, and as a responsible citizens, it was always respected for responsible citizens to arm themselves. I mean, in the Constitution or whatever, when they wrote it, they wanted the citizenry to be able to defend themselves from threats, both foreign and domestic. So there's nothing wrong with arming yourself as long as you do it legally. I think the government should make it possible for you, make it where you have to go through psychological testing, better than what they do for cops apparently, because a lot of them are not right. Psychological testing, then you have to go through the gun range or whatever, and then of course you have to have no criminal background. So I would say that so that when people go crazy like the man in Canada, the regular citizen will be able to defend themselves against such people as that. I see nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But I don't have a gun. I don't have guns and all that. So all I can do is pray for the safety of my friends and my relatives, and that's about it. So God bless you and keep you, and you take care. I hope I answered your questions good enough. God bless you and keep you. Bye bye. Much love.